Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I didn't realize I was live. Anyway, no one's here yet, so that's fine. All right. I hit go live and then it said in stream, but so I already was live. All right, let's share the screen, see what the market's doing. Last time I checked, which was 5 minutes ago, it was doing absolutely nothing, which is to be expected. To be expected given the time of the year and given that that it's Fed day today and that kind of stuff. All right, let's look over here. We have a new top 20 list, all kinds of new stuff. We have the new Alti positions. We're going to look at the ULTY positions this morning. All right, yeah, the market true to form. It was up 9 basis points just last time I checked. Now it's up 2 basis points. This is a real exciting market. Now the NASDAQ is up 4 times as much at 8 basis points. Now Bitcoin's just getting crushed down 18 basis points. Now, there's just nothing moving. The 10-year moving up is not such a great look, but it is a Fed day, so who knows? Could just be some positioning, people trying to get in front of that announcement, whatever it may be, people trying to square positions or something, or hedge. Look at AMD. Even that thing has stopped going up for a while. It's gone sideways for a couple of days. Amazon, ditto on Amazon. It's gone sideways for a couple of days. Let's see. Now, Coinbase has been pulling back. And now we're up this morning. We actually have a bullish gap. We'll see if that gap holds till the end of the day. But that's good for Coinbase fans, especially if that gap holds till the end of the day. Here's a little GM or Google action. GME's a dog. It's down again today. Google's chart looks good, but it's down about 1/3 of a point. Even the mighty MicroStrategies is, well, at least MicroStrategies is up, but it's in the same boat as Coinbase where it's been pulling back a lot lately. Then we have Chicago NVIDIA up 1.5 points. Now this thing only goes up. This thing only goes up, and it started off this morning up 1.5 points. That is good to see. Q's sideways. Equal weight S&P, RSP. I was trying to think what that was yesterday. And I thought we were looking at another symbol. We were looking at QQEW, but I thought we were looking at RSPA or something. Why were we looking at RSPA? Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway. Now, Russell, there's some rare good news. It's up 0.5 point, but the overall trend has been straight sideways since the 7th. Gone up, gone down, but gone nowhere. TLT is starting to go up a little also, which is not a good sign. That moves the same way as bonds do. Tesla, up a little bit this morning. USO up a little bit this morning, but up a lot yesterday, which I didn't notice, but at the time, they even had a bull cross right here. I don't think it means anything in a market like this that doesn't trend, but they had a pretty good bull cross down here. Went from 70 to 75 by the time it recrossed, or really 73. So just a choppy market. Not a lot of momentum. Look at this bull cross. If you would have bought that bull cross, you'd been in at 73, and then it gave a counter signal at 66. So you would have bought 73, sold 66. Anyway, choppy markets. All right, yesterday I was a little bit concerned because VIX and VIVIX were up towards the end of the day. Let's see what they're doing today. VIX is actually down 0.5 point. VIVIX is up 1/3 of a point. Mixed signals there. All right, so let's see what else we have. Let's look over here at the high yield technical analysis page. I just generated a new top 20 list. Maybe we'll do another one though. Make sure this is the most recent one. I ran this about 30 minutes ago. Well, MSFY is still number one today, 57% yield and nearly a 20% total return. NVDW is also killing it. NVDY is making about exactly twice the dividend of NVDW. But so you would expect less NAV return, and sure enough, true to form, we have less NAV return, and you would expect half as much NAV return out of NVDY, because remember, the yield is a tax on it comes out of the NAV for one thing, so it's a tax on the NAV. Anyway, so if this were totally fair, you would expect NVDY to have 27.5% upside. So that's why NVDY is third. It's not, yes, it's paying double the yield, but it's not getting half the upside like it should. It's getting less than half. So the ratio works out where NVDW is better, even considering the lower yield. It's great to see. It doesn't always work out that way, but lots of times it does. Then we have AMD down here, 71%. AMD is half of NVDW's performance. It's not based on the same fund, but I would expect the metrics of AMD for NVDY, if it were as good as NVDW, or it had as good of metrics. It doesn't, and that's why NVDY is in third and NVDW is in second this morning. Okay, so then we have AMD, then we have QDT from Roundhill. So Roundhill's doing a good job. They have the second and fifth. YieldMax has and then Curve has first. Roundhill has second and fifth, and then YieldMax has third, fourth, sixth, eighth. All right, QDT looking really good, paying 41% yield. That is looking really good, and it's getting its share of upside. 11% is not bad. Remember, it's an index, and indexes are based on an average of more stocks, and they don't have as easy of a time going up as single stocks do, or going down. So, all right, SMCY, now this thing's a monster. 100% yield and 18% upside. COIW, speaking of monsters, 45% yield and nearly a 70% NAV return. TSMY looking good. OARC also looking good. And then we have QDTY making the list. It was on the list yesterday for YieldMax. And I just don't understand why the yield is so much less than QDTE. I had thought they were trying to basically mimic it. So, but anyway, with less yield, we would expect more NAV return out of QDTY, and really a lot more because it's about half the yield. But and they do have a little bit more NAV return, about 20% more. QDTY is up 13%. Oh, that's good. It's catching more upside than QDTE, and QDTE is giving you more of the money back in the form of yield. It's the only way you get it. You can either get it in yield or NAV, or some combination of the two. All right, then rounding out the list, we have LFGY, GPTY, YETH, MSFO, FEPI. That's a good one. YBTC, AMZP, PLTW. Boy, that's a good one. So another Roundhill one that's doing really well. Look at that, 50% yield and nearly 20% NAV return. That's great. The only reason it's ranked so low is because it's more volatile than the ones up here on a relative basis. All right, then we have SOXY, and then we have Triple QI. Remember, my database is just comparing the stocks in the database with each other. MSFY is not the best stock in the world, obviously. That is the best ETF in this database relative to the other ones. Looking at the three metrics, I look at, which is yield, NAV return, and yield, NAV return, and safety, relative safety, or you could also call it volatility. All right, so let's see, what else should we look at? Let's look over here. Maybe we go over here to the index buffer report, see what's going on over there. I'll say hey to you guys first. Yeah, happy Declaration Wednesday, Norman. Hope things are pretty out there in California. I can't tell you how beautiful Austin was this morning. I woke up and it was like didn't even feel like it was 70 degrees and no humidity. We have a rare kind of summer cool front that came through last night. It was gorgeous my neighbor's yard. I finally got the carburetor fixed, and I got her yard mowed right before dark last night, and it looks beautiful. And there was two beautiful fawns over there with a couple of does, and I got some video. But anyway, it's a perfect Austin morning. Yeah, NVIDIA is a monster. All right, so Brandon, what are you saying? NVIDIA is up 30 and paying 25 in only 3 months. Yeah, that's so up 30%. So why isn't NV? Let me check and see. NV2. Don't you guys call that? Some people call that NV2. I caught that from another influencer. Anyway, we can call it whatever though. Let's see here why it's not. It may just be a little too new to be on the list, but that's going to go straight to the head of the class when it gets on the list. So let's check out all NV2. Yeah, it's just too new. It has to have a quarterly performance. I could build a formula that could take this performance and figure out what the quarterly performance should be, but maybe I should do that so we can have stocks or ETFs that get in here newer. But I'm hoping the ETFs kind of slow down. They've announced a bunch. I mean, I can't imagine that we need that many more. I mean, I thought we probably hit peak ETF, high yield ETF issuance. But anyway, we'll see. But for now, the magic date is June, July, August. Unfortunately, this isn't, unless I change the formula, this isn't going to be in until August. Maybe I'll change the formula. All right. So index buffer report. I'll come back to you guys. Let's just look at this stuff first. All right. Index buffer report, or this yield max buffer. What's going on here? OARC's up while the underline's down. That's really good. That's really good to see. Now, this is bad. AIYY's outperforming its parent going down. That doesn't usually happen. Here's something that's really, really good, though. Look at Coney catching all of that sweet upside from Coinbase. Whatever Scott's doing, and Jay, whoever's running the Coney account, is doing a great job. I don't know if they went super far out of the money with the options. If maybe they left some options uncovered, or that maybe they left some shares uncovered, I should say, anticipating a bounce back. I mean, and we are getting a bounce back, and we have had quite a pullback. Anyway, that's a great job being nimble, guys. If that's what it is, that's just my guess. Looks like AMDY is getting more upside than the parent as well. So and also PLTY. So we have PLTY, OARC, Alti catching more upside than the parent, and AMD. And then we have Coney catching 90% of the parent's upside. So that's a really good day. The only thing disappointing on the downside is AIYY. Well, aptly, but that doesn't really count. It's probably just people getting adjusted in front of earnings. So what Apple's earnings are tomorrow after the bell, I believe. All right. So, man, I was up late last night. I was working on this Alti. We're going to go look what I was working on. My AI subscription terminates or resets in a couple of days. So I'm trying to get the most out of it that I can. And I'm trying to make the Altiverse a lot better, but let's see what we have now. Alti, they must be, maybe they watched our show yesterday because they added this BMNR. If they add SBET, we know they're watching the show. Is there no SBET is not in there yet, but okay. So, gosh darn it. Okay, that's option positions. Let's just go to Alti stock position. Well, they were supposed to save yesterday's trades, but it didn't do it. That's what I was up late working on. I wanted to save the previous day's trades, and then we're going to show the change in weighting. So in other words, if a new stock comes in here that was zero, and then like BMNR, Bitmine Immersion Technologies, it's going to highlight it in green, and it'll show, that it was zero the day before and it was up And it was I don't know. I'm going to show it somehow, probably a percentage change or something. But so anyway, let's just go through here. That's the only one I noticed was Bitmine. All right, take that back. I also noticed they're doing double long VIX futures, otherwise known as UVXY. Let's go look at the options on UVXY. Let's see what kind of strategy they're running. Probably just a caller, but let's go look at that. I guess we could just look at it this way. It's not going to be on that one. Let's get it out of the daily trades. All right. Well, on BMNR, they've got the 350, 300 caller on, or 3530, whatever. It's 3530, isn't it? Yeah. All right. And then on UVIX, they're selling that. What are they doing here? So they sold a call and they sold a put, otherwise known as a synthetic. So that's awesome. They're just long volatility. Look at that, because they sold a call, bought a put, goes out till August 15th. And for the next 2 weeks, they're long. They're synthetically bought UVIX, which if we get a volatility explosion, or if let's say Powell does something crazy today, or so, I don't know. I mean, but anyway, this will partially protect the portfolio. They have the equivalent of 15,000 shares of UVIX on. That's a baller move. Then in addition to that, they've got them a put where they've offset a lot of the downside risk. So let's look at UVIX. Also, they kind of have a split combo. This is something like SB would do. Man, they must have, maybe they're watching our Discord and they're picking up trades off Scramble or SB. I mean, but this is a creative trade. I mean, they're buying the 200 call, selling the 140 put. So, I mean, a synthetic is at the same strike and at the money, but a combo can be split strike. I think that's more like a combo. But then in addition to that, they don't have any exposure under 140. So let's look at UVIX. We'll have to start checking this out every morning. I've often wondered why there wasn't a fund that didn't run synthetic poor man's covered calls or some type of long exposure to UVXY or UVIX. And it's probably because of all the erosion that these, especially UVXY, has, the volatility decay. So they would probably get killed. But if you were running some type of poor man's covered call, maybe a half poor man's covered call, where you had 200 shares for every one option you sold, so you had half upside, and I think that might be good. It'd just be, I wish there was a way to get long volatility in a creative way with these, because you can buy UVXY, but you suffer the volatility decay. If somebody like Jay could build a fund that traded UVXY from the long side, or UVIX from the long side, and then people might buy that and get a yield, even when volatility is going down. But then if you could if volatility was trending up like it was in March and April, that thing would kill it. It'd be for tactical. It wouldn't be buy and hold. But anyway, this is good though, because they're just basically long. They don't even have any. They don't have any calls sold, which is awesome. Anyway, so UVIX. So it's trading at 16. So, and I was calling it 160, whatever. But so they sold that. So they did that. Let's look at this. This is pretty interesting. This is the most interesting thing I've seen them do in a while. We'll just go combo. See, a combo has split strikes like that. So August 15th, UVIX. Jay always calls synthetics combos. Combos just what he calls them. And I'm sure he's not the only one. So they sold they bought the 20 call. Boy, there's not a lot of Look, that's Jay right there. There's 15,000 there's 492 contracts that aren't Jay or Scott or whoever. That's them right there. That's their, you could see it in the open interest. Wow. But bid ask is 84 to 96 cents today, but I'm sure they know what they're doing. What was it? They sold the 14 strike put. Yep, there they are, 15,020 of them. And I don't know what they got. So let's see. This one's trading at 90 cents, but let's say they paid 80 cents. And on this one, it's trading at, well, it's between 0 and 29 cents. So, all right. Well, that may not be right, but that's the basic deal right there. It's just long. You know, it'd be a synthetic if it was just like that. If it was the same strike, that's a synthetic. This is a combo. So, and then in addition to that, they bought a put, and the bought put was in a closer time frame, wasn't it? So that's the kind of structure they're looking at. Let's look at the bought put. UVIX 15,000, 15,000. All right. There's the prices right there. 99, 14, and 98. And they're all in the same time frame. 99, 14, and 98. I was close on the guesses. 99, 14, and I already forgot this one. Gosh darn, I have the worst memory. And 98. Okay. It's 15,000, all the same. Oh, gosh. No, I misread that, and I'm sure you guys are saying that in the comments. Gosh darn it. All right, no, my bad. I wish they would have done it like this, but they did it like this. They sold this one, and then they sold this one. Why would they do that? Why didn't they do it like I said to do it? And then they bought that one. Surely that's not right. There's no way they did. There's no way this isn't bought. Were they? Because that would give the fund some protection. Well, who knows? Sorry about that. I got all excited about nothing. It's an ugly trade. Yeah, sold short. 20 call, 14 put. That doesn't even make sense. Maybe they have share. They have shares probably. And I haven't picked up that part because we weren't looking at. All right, and then add shares. Okay, well that's better. That's better. That's got to be what it is. That's got to be what it is. If volatility goes up, they can do pretty well. If volatility goes down, I guess we should put the number of shares in here. And then we need, so if that's 15,000, we need 100 times 15,000. Right? Is that right? Yeah. All right. Well, that's the position right there. It's some type of long volatility position. They're aiming for a price of 20. If it gets above 20, they're capped out. All right, I'm going to go back over the comments because I'm sure you guys have made a lot of them. Sorry, I was on the wrong track. I don't know why they did. I do know why they didn't do it, because they were having shares. If they didn't have shares, my way would have been better. But it's a way you could get the same thing kind of without shares. And also, my way didn't have any cap on it, but that's fine. That is fine. Hey, Summit. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. All right, Brandon, what's going on? Except 2x NVIDIA is up 90% in the same time frame. Yeah, so yeah, let's let's look at, hey, Jonathan, how you doing? I think Jonathan and I are going to get together maybe on Saturday. I haven't checked my messages yet this morning, but yeah, we're going to get together. And everyone, yes, please like and subscribe. Dan said so. Hey, Grateful Trader. Okay, I'll look at those in a second. Let me make sure I finish the main stuff. But yeah, that we've been talking about Cashi a little bit lately, and I got some ones for you. Go look at this one. This is the one I'm most interested in right now. Not that those other ones aren't great, but check those out. Check those babies out. I'll look at those in a second. Okay, so but back to the index buffer report, or not the index, back to the Altiverse. Let's just make sure I've covered all the main stuff. Or actually, here's the next thing I want to cover. All right. I just love this little report. Let's go through here because we found it. And I noticed this before. I used to use this every day a year ago or something. And I noticed all the time the stocks that were in here would end up in ULTY. Now, obviously, Jay's not using barchart.com, but they have some type of screener that also probably screens for unusual option activity and skew and all kinds of stuff. So, but even a simple screener like Top Cover Call Ideas will pick up some of the things that because there's that BMNR. Look at BITF. I don't know what that is, but I mean, it's $1.20, and you could sell the 2-strike call for who knows. I don't know why it doesn't have it there. Anyway, let's check these out, see if we can find anything else. But yeah, Cashi's a good one. CSHI. We were looking the other day, Ethan, Grateful Trader, at Cashi, CSHI versus BLOX, not blocks, versus BOXX, box. And very similar. They're similar ETFs, but kind of boring. They're kind of boring. They're real boring. They're based on bonds. They make 4 or 5%. But they're real steady. But they aren't really stuff that I would think you guys would normally be interested in. It's more for retirement planning, like for older guys, like me and some of the other guys in there. But anyway, all right. So look at this one. BMNR's at the top of the list this morning. I mean, these options are jacked. I mean, this stock's trading at 33, and you could sell a 45 strike call for $3. I mean, that's a 11% return. Annualize that, it's 85%. That's really good. Anyway, so then we have Bull, and then we have SRPT. Look at that one, trading at 18.20, and you could sell a 25 strike call for $1.40. Lowers your break even on the stock part of the trade to 16.80, leaves you plenty upside. QBTS, probably some kind of quantum company, same thing. There's SBET. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these show up tomorrow. HIMS, some of the usual suspects. There's Lunar, and yeah, BMNR's all over this list. It's going to be a good one, I think. All right, yeah, I can look at some of those other things. I think I've talked about the stuff I wanted to talk about. I guess maybe I wanted to let's look at option strat and see if anything's going on in there. The first thing I need to do is save this trade, though. We'll save that, and so we can monitor that. And I'm going to put, let's see, Jace. I don't want to get credit for it. Let me just respond to that. All right. Okay, so now let's look at the save trades. See what else we have. That trade's already up 200,000, so that's pretty good. We didn't put the stock price in though. I didn't look at this, so that anyway. I just wanted to see kind of the shape of it. All right, so what else do we have going on here? I was seeing if any of these were moving, any of the ones we were looking at, but they really aren't. So anyway, all right. Let's look at those trades, Ethan, or Grateful Trader. All right. SCUS. Let's look at that one. All right. Well, this looks like this is like a competitor with Cashy, short-term income, 3.81% based on bonds. So I'm not going to really know that much about this. Oh, and it's not. It has some. Actually, it looks like it's a dividend fund. I mean, or it has some dividends in it. You know, Philip Morris International. It has some stocks in there that probably pay that do pay dividends. Interesting. Performance for the quarter, I mean, 6%. Performance year to date, it's slow and steady, right? Slow and steady. What else do we have over here? Let's see. Now T-Spy, let's look at, we all know about that one, but I want to look at these two other tickers. You're good at pulling up obscure tickers. JPX. All right, so it's just two times. It's leverage JP Morgan. It's too new to really tell that much about it. And the other one was something like GAB, right? Not GAB, but something like that. A kind of a weird symbol. Yeah, Gab. Maybe this is some type of social network or something. I'm trying to think, sometimes the symbols kind of make sense. Maybe this is a fund that invests in a fund of funds that buys all the social networks. I don't know, good belly. I was just thinking Gab, some type of app or something where you gab with people. All right. Well, no. Well, yeah, look at this, 10% dividend. Equity Trust. Okay, well, do they do options or what are they doing here? To get 10% income? Now they don't have a top 10 holdings because this is a closed-end fund, so it's a different deal. Doesn't have the transparency. Yeah, we have a new section just for you guys information. We have a new section in Discord that for closed-end funds, and then we also have one for master limited partnerships, and there's some good conversations going on there, especially about closed-end funds. So that's just not my cup of tea, but anyway, all right. So what else is going on here? I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss any comments. Really, NVDL's up 176 in 3 months. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. All right. Well, unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about, I have a bunch of stuff to do today. I need to get back in the middle of the AI stuff. I just have a bunch of stuff going on, so we can get together later. How does that sound? We'll get together about 2:30. All right. I appreciate you all for being here, and you have a wonderful day. I'll look at those later, Ethan. I got to do something. I got to take care of this. All right. But anyway, you guys have a great day, and I'll be back at 2:30. See ya. Thanks for being here, guys. Sorry.